Hello there friends and welcome. For today's Pathfinder Enhanced Set Guide we have yet another shifter build, this time the Feyform shifter, which can change into a very cool looking Fey and Ankou. Just like Child of Manticore, it's one of the strongest archetypes, having even the ability to achieve an absurd amount of attacks per round. You attack enemies as if you were a whirlwind of lightning fast blows, culminating into 15 attacks per round, not counting attacks of opportunity of course. And the best part is a lot of this comes pretty early. Right at level 4, your Fey shape will already grant you 5 attacks per round. At level 5, an extra from haste. At level 6 and 7, up to 7 attacks, only getting better from there. As you might expect, our damage will also be amazing. We'll fully specialize into claws. On a normal hit you can do around 200 damage, together with even 600 on critical hits. And we'll get great critical chance by going Trickster into Legend. Shifters can achieve absurd physical scores and we'll be fully focusing into Dexterity this time, which will provide us with not only great initiative, but also amazing armor class with little investment, which can of course go for even higher than 110. The Feyform shifter can even achieve the highest spell resistance of them all. We'll have 50 at max level. So without further ado, let us get into our Feyform Shifter Trickster Legend build. Alright, so for this build we'll be going with Feyform Shifter. I've already covered its strengths in my main shifter guide, you can check here. So for now I'll just rush straight into the build. For race I'll be going with Human because I prefer the extra feat early, but you can go with anything you want, especially as we'll be going Legend later on, so you'll have an abundance of feats. The background is the same, Street Urchin and Pickpocket for the bonus to initiative, especially because this build will be my first shifter build, fully focused into dexterity. Well, I mean, the Manticore shifter also had dexterity, but this time we are going melee. 20 character creation for the highest bonus to attack rolls possible, together with the fact we can increase this even further through Legend later on. Both intelligence and charisma are easily dumpable. You then want 14 strength, 14 constitution, and 14 wisdom. Strength will still be important to our character because a lot of our extra damage will come from this, as I will soon explain. And as a shifter you have a very easy time increasing all of your physical scores. As far as skill points, because we are going all out into dexterity, you might as well focus into the dexterity skills, mobility, trickery and stealth. In the case of trickery, I mean, CAVALIER can easily cover it for you, so you might as well go with athletics instead. It's up to you. As a legend, you can increase all of these skills by pretty much double what other characters can do. For your level 1 feats, this is very important because we have very high dexterity, we want weapon finesse, so that our attack rolls will come from dexterity instead of strength. And for the first time, you'll also be picking a special shifter only feat, Shifter's Edge. This feat will essentially let you add half your shifter's class level, so a maximum of plus 10 at level 20, as extra damage on all of your claw attacks, so long as you apply strength to damage and dexterity to attack rolls. So you cannot get Mythic Weapon Finesse, otherwise this will stop working. On the other hand, Amulets of Agile Fists, that well have the same effect as Mythic Weapon Finesse, they do work together with this, at least as far as this current patch. Not sure if they will change it later on, but in any case, because shifters can achieve very high dexterity and strength, it ends up as a net gain to your damage. For deity, any that allows the Trickster chaotic alignments will be picking first before going into Legend. You might as well go with Caden, which has a Legend unique event. And then you have to be chaotic neutral, this is very important. Later with Legend you can change into anything you want. Now this build isn't exactly meant to be the main tank of your party, but Shifter can easily achieve a lot of armor class. And since we start with very high dexterity and also have defensive instinct, you can at least hold your ground. Now, if you want this character to achieve a lot of tanking potential even early game, I would suggest you multi-class now with Witch. Just a normal Witch is fine. Then get a classic Lizard Familiar, Transformation Patron, and most importantly, the Ice Plant Hex. Just at chapter 1, a single level into Witch can already provide you with a plus 5 bonus to armor class. The rest of the build of course would be the same from now on, and you would end up with one less level into Ranger. And if going Witch, it's best if you start with at least 10 intelligence. You can dump both your strength and also constitution for that. Even a little of wisdom too. 11 intelligence would be best, so you can cast the level 1 witch spells without needing to bother with gear enhancements. For level 3, I recommend you go with Power Attack, because this way we can also get Mythic Power Attack early, which is amazing for Legend, and you won't have to respec your character before becoming a Legend, or you can just do that and pick Power Attack later if you prefer. Regardless, Power Attack will add a lot of extra damage to our hits, which is even better because we have an amazing amount of attacks per round through Fey Shape. And as far as the penalty to attack rolls, I mean, even early, this character will have amazing initiative, and also high attack rolls from Weapon Finesse and High Dexterity. At level 4, increased Dexterity, which is also what you want to increase on all of the other levels. At level 5, Outflank is the way to go, especially because of all of the attacks we have with Fey Shape, and this will enhance all of them. Even better once we get improved critical later on, especially when further boosted by the Trickster special critical feats. At level 6, you'll have access to Shifter's Fury. Ideally, you want to specialize into claws for even more claw attacks, while still retaining all the amazing secondary shifter form hits like the 2 wings and the tail. However, you'll only want to turn this on starting from level 7, because this is when we can get Shifter's multi-attack. Without this, because of how many secondary attacks you have under Fey Shape, whenever you activate Shifter's Fury, they'll all take a massive -5 penalty to attack rolls. Through multi-attack, however, we reduce that to a very manageable -2 instead. At level 8, we get a bonus feat from being a Feyform shifter. We can only pick the normal rogue talents, which, I'll be blunt, are rather poor. Ideally, you just want to use these extra feats, well, to get more generic feats through Combat Trick, and what we want now is Improved Critical, into Claws, because most of our attacks will be Claws. For level 9, you want another Improved Critical. The best choice would be Wing, because it's our second most numerous attacks. The Feyform has 2 claws, 2 wings, and just 1 tail. Later to Trickster, we'll get even higher critical range here too. Now, the first time I did this video, I actually picked Weapon Focus here, so if you still see it now, just ignore it. It's meant to be Improved Critical Wing. Now, for your first Shifter aspect, you start with the Fey one, but as a Feyform shifter, unlike the Manticore, you can pick 3 other ones. And at this point you can already apply 2 at the same time, then 3 at 14, and all of them at 20. Ideally, you would go with Tiger, because Tiger increases your dexterity, so that's extra damage and attack rolls, even armor class to our character too. If you want higher armor class, go with Spider. Otherwise, for higher damage, Wolf. We'll be picking some of these later on anyways, I'd rather Tiger now for dexterity. For level 11, Combat Reflexes is the way to go. We have an absurd amount of dexterity, so we can perform an immense amount of attacks of opportunity. And the main reason I delayed this for now is because level 11 is also when most of your characters can get access to Improved Critical. And the more criticals everyone gets, the more free attacks everyone also gets from Outflank. For level 13, this is important, as with any Trickster build. Be sure to level your character to Mythic 4 first to get access to the special Trickster critical feats through Perception 1 and 2 Mythic Tricks. So at 13 we can now qualify for Improved Critical, and we want Claws of course, as the low critical range of natural weapons is one of the main weaknesses of Shifter. Thankfully, because level 14 is when we get another bonus feat from Feyform, we can get the second Trickster critical feat right here. Combat Trick, Improved, and Claw. So now we have the maximum critical range possible with our claws, 15 to 20. For the second Shifter aspect, because we can use the amulets of Agile Fists to apply the dexterity bonus to damage, I don't think there's much of a point into going with Mammoth, so I would rather just go for Wolf for even more damage. But you can of course go with Spider for higher armor class if you prefer. For level 15, the last Trickster special critical feat for higher critical damage with our claws. For level 17, the second Trickster critical feat, this time for wings. This is why we picked the normal wing critical feat at level 9. Understand that the higher your critical chance is not just about you, because the more criticals you get, the more free attacks you also provide to any party member that has outflank. As for level 19, you have 2 choices. This is usually when you become a full legend, so you'll lose access to the Trickster special feats besides the ones you already have. You can pick another wing Improved Critical to maximize its critical range to 15 to 20, just like our claws, or you can go for Meta Magic completely normal spell, which can provide a lot of extra spellbook flexibility For the ranger spells, we'll soon be learning as a legend, so the choice is up to you. I'll just go for the second wing critical here. At level 20 we get our last aspect. For now, it's basically a choice between these two. Want more AC, Spider, more hit points, Wolverine. As a legend we can actually get even more hit points. I don't think armor class is as important for this build, but well, if you want the maximum value possible, Spider is the way to go. I would rather Wolverine because I really enjoy having absurd hit points, especially as a legend. Alright, now for the second part of our build's progression as a legend, so the remaining 20 levels. Well, you can certainly go with Fighter and Mutation Warrior, it's just that I've already done a legend shifter with that. This time I want to go with Ranger and Demon Slayer, which also makes for an extremely powerful class combination. We'll get full favored enemy progression against all of the demons in the game for up to +10 to attack and damage later on. More like right now, because you'll be getting something like 15 levels of legend right at once. You can even get a pet or use the Hunter's Bond ability to empower your party members. While you won't get sneak attack progression, the Sense Vital spell will grant you an extra 5 dice of sneak attack, so pretty good, to make up for the ones we lost when going Trickster into Legend. Plus, you know, it's still a high base attack bonus class, perfect for Legend, with some nice bonus feats. And overall, I think it fits Shifter more because Rangers are nature class too. Rangers will get an extra skill point, you can just put it into, let's say, use magic device or anything else you want. For your level 21 feat, let's get into Shatter defenses already, we just don't have the space for it earlier. First we want weapon focus into claws. For the ranger combat style feats, I would actually go with two-handed weapon, even if you aren't two-handing, just so we get easy access to most of the cleave lines, so now pick cleave. For level 23, dazzling display. For your first favorite terrain, well, you might as well pick urban. But at this point in the game, only urban, abyss and desert matter, to be fair. For your bond ability, honestly, I mean, you can of course go for the pet, pets are amazing no matter what point in the game you're at. It's just that, as a legend, you can just use the Bismuth statue for the Triceratops pet, which by the way will scale up to level 20, so that's 4 levels higher than any other mythic path. So for something different, I would rather go with Ranger's Bond now, which is especially useful for buffing all party members, since we have full progression against all demons in the game, together with the instant enemy spell to apply it to any enemy anyways, and it does work with Ranger's Bond. As far as the Ranger spells, sadly, it doesn't seem like Lead Blades works with your natural attacks, at least I wasn't getting the extra damage. For level 25, Shatter defenses at last, then two-handed weapon and cleaving finish for free, so we get an extra attack per round. For level 27, let's grab improved initiative because we can't really afford mythic initiative as a trickster legend. For another favorite terrain, Abyss. Then you might as well continue progression into Urban, or pick Abyss earlier and continue into Abyss. Honestly, the extra bonuses from the favorite terrain don't really matter much. For level 29, Accomplished Sneak Attacker. This extra bonus to our sneak dice will work as a legend, so eventually we can hit up to 17 dice of sneak attack when further boosted by the Ranger Sense Vital spell, together with a skill book you get at chapter 5. For another bonus style feat, Great Cleave. For level 31, Improved Cleaving Finish because we can't get this as a bonus ranger feat. For level 33, well, getting Lunge or not is up to you, I still think it's useful because Reach is amazing. Plus Lunge has amazing synergy with all of the Cleave feats we just got. For another favorite terrain, Desert, then choose Urban or Desert here, I'm not sure why we can't pick Abyss again. For level 34, go with Toughness, it's even better for a legend because you get double the hit points, especially since we also have the Wolverine aspect for even higher than 1000 hit points. For 35, Energized Wild Shape at this point can help. Just remember to equip any gear that boosts your wisdom by at least +5, which you certainly have at this point in the game. 1d6 extra irresistible damage is pretty nice considering all of the attacks we have per round. For level 37, Blind Fight, we can't really delay it anymore. You can of course pick it instead of one of the other feats I picked earlier at level 20 plus as a legend. For another terrain, Underground, then Urban or Desert. For the last Ranger bonus feat, you might as well go with Dodge. It's just +1 to AC, but the other ones we have left aren't that useful. For level 39, I would just go for yet another improved critical, and you can choose between Gore or Tail. We only have one of each of these attacks. Alright, now let us cover Mythic Progression for our Trickster Legend Feyform Shifter. For the first ascension, Close to the Abyss is the best. The Gore attack will actually work together with all of our Feyform hits, so essentially, we can get 6 attacks right at level 5 to 6, plus another from haste too, so 7. For Mythic level 1, Master Shapeshifter is definitely the way to go. You really want the +4 bonus to all physical scores. For Mythic level 2, unless you want to respec later, this is when you should get Mythic Power Attack because of the amazing synergy it has, with granting you even higher bonuses to damage as a legend. For Mythic 3, while still a Trickster, you would get Ever Ready and Arcana 1. For Mythic 4, Mythic Critical Claws and Perception 1 and 2 tricks. Mythic 5 plus is up to you, and you'll lose it all as a legend anyways. But Mythic Charge can help if you have a Scald to give you pounds. Alright, now let us cover gear for our Feyform Shifter Legend Trickster. For the amulet, Agile Fists is the best. You don't actually need it to have the highest modifier. I believe it only goes up to +4, unlike Mighty Fists, which can go up to +5. Because we truly only want this for the similar property to Mythic Weapon Finesse. We'll get to add our huge dexterity modifier to the damage of our natural attacks, all of them, thus the dexterity here. And yes, at the moment this will work with the Shifter's Edge feature. So essentially we have +26 to damage from dexterity and also another +10 from Shifter's Edge for a total of +36. Armor is meaningless for you. For robes and shirts, Bestial Rags is by far the best. You really want to stack the racial bonuses. For the belts, at first belts of dexterity, later dexterity and strength for constitution, but ultimately all of them through physical perfection belts. Besides that, if you want the highest AC possible, be sure to go with Lizard Tail, because this alone can increase your armor class by a massive +14 points that you can't get anywhere else. For bracers, just go with the Paws of the Bear King, not only for the huge +5 enhancement bonus to natural attacks, so you don't have to maximize the Agile Fists talisman, but also to increase the damage of your main attacks, Claws. For boots, Ronak Sacrifice is by far the best way to go. We want as high dexterity as possible. But earlier you can also go for the newly added Cat's Boots. For helmets, you can go with Headbands of Wisdom earlier for higher AC, including the Owl's Cowl, which even has synergy with the Cat's Boots I just mentioned, but ultimately I would just settle for the Hat of the Bitter End for even more attack bonus. Although as a legend, you kinda have more than enough. For the glasses slot, just Broken Trickster, so that we can increase all of our mental stats, well besides intelligence, plus the tanking property is amazing too whenever it hits. For cloaks, just resistance with the highest modifier. For rings, Triumphant Advance is as always the must-have, together with Guiding Star for the bonus to initiative, since we can't afford Mythic Initiative as a legend. For bracers, 2 choices, Animal Fury if you want higher attack rolls and damage, or Bracers of Armor up to +8 for higher armor class. But look, we can achieve enough AC even without the Spider aspect and Archmage Armor or the Braces of AC. Even without the Lizard Tail belt too. Now let us cover weapons and quick slots. The Hasty Eradicator is the best choice for any melee shifter, because it will provide you with an extra attack per round even under Wild Shape. If it's not working, just reload the game and equip it again. For quick slots, just the Lucky Dice for minor luck bonuses, sometimes you can even get it to armor class. The Signet of House Vespertilio to increase any skill of choice, you can get very high ranks in the dexterity skills with this build. And the Triceratops Statuette for a full scaling pet in the case of Legend. Of course, to use Magic Device you can use any scroll, but it has to be done outside of the Feyform. On the other hand, you can cast spells just fine, because the Ankou is an innate spellcaster. So for the Ranger spells, you don't need to have the natural spell feat. Well, alright friends, so this was it for my Feyform Shifter Trickster Legend guide. If you found it useful, as always, please remember to like, subscribe and also consider becoming a channel member. Your support is greatly appreciated. Thank you for watching and see you next time, and by the way, with the most broken shifter build yet,